So welcome to Cream Tea's YouTube channel, and today I'm going to talk a little bit about a collaboration between Cream Tea, Newman guitars, for which we're licensed to build, and Guitar X, which is the pickup swapping system we put in our guitars. And I've called it Wood to Stage in 40 Days. And essentially it came out of a meeting that the team had with Billy Gibbons of ZZ Top in Nashville on the 6th of August 2024. At that meeting, he asked us to build some guitars for him, some Newman guitars with the Guitar X system in and with Cream Tea pickups in it. And he gave us 40 days between the date of requesting and a target date of a gig that he was playing at the Ruoff Music Stadium in Indiana in the September of that year, which was quite a challenge. So this is basically Wood to Stage in 40 days. So ZZ Top had toured with some Newman guitars for a couple of years. They were blue and orange guitars that were very distinctive, matching guitar and bass with the Cream Tea pickups in. But on this occasion they wanted some black guitars, and they had a few particular requirements on those, so they had to be matching once again. Elwood requested that the headstock be reduced a little bit in size, and they wanted lacquered fretboards, so the guitar had as much of a black vision to it as possible, albeit with outline of cream binding. So this was our challenge. One of the largest parts of this challenge is that we'd never made a bass before. They'd been made in America, and these are the UK version made of the Newman guitars. So we had to start all over with CAD programs and making a bass. And once we'd taken off the journey time to get over to America and deliver to them, we worked out that we'd got 35 days to make a matching bass and guitar, having never made a bass before, and also redesigning it and get them over to America. What do you say to Billy Gibbons? Well, yes, of course. Building the guitars, as I say, we had to design the bass from the ground up. It had to have a smaller headstock to it. Previous iterations of the bass had been completely hand-built, whereas we wanted to put this into a production process. Elwood wanted a particular Seymour Duncan custom shop pickup. We established that there were a lead time of 3 months, so that was a no-go because we only had 35, 40 days to do this. We found one single pickup on the market on Reverb, so we purchased that on Reverb and got it to us in time. That came over from America. We redesigned the headstock. We established they had black lacquered necks, and then importantly they wanted the GX Guitar X pickup swapping system in the guitar and some pickups that went along with the black guitars. So once the guitars were built, we had the challenge of getting them over to America. We only had a few days left by this point, so we booked some flights to Chicago, but the cases we had to put the guitars in to go in the hold were not big enough for a bass, so we took the bass in a traditional suitcase over in pieces. And we rocked up on the door of Chicago Music Exchange. We had given them a little bit of warning, of course, and they took the bass for us and assembled it, and they were absolutely blown away by it. One of the challenges Billy had given us with the set of guitars was that the guitar had to be near as possible to £5 as possible, and the bass had to be under £6. This is achieved by having significant chambering in the body of the guitar and also weight relief within the neck with carbon rods to reinforce it. So in the end of the guitars that we produced, the guitar came out at 5.1 pounds and the bass came out at 5.9 pounds. Once we got to Chicago and we got the bass assembled, we were then the day before the gig. The gig was a 3-hour drive further south down into Indiana, so we hired a car, put the guitars in and drove down to the Ruoff Music Center in Indiana, and the plan then was we met up with the guitar tech, John. We presented him with the guitars, which he loved. We got backstage passes for access all areas. We got to see everything that's going on behind the scenes and were made to feel incredibly welcome. We parked our car by the tour buses, and having handed over the guitar, when I spun it round and showed the guitar tech, John, the pickup swapping system, he was like, oh no. If this is going to have several options of pickups in it, I've got to EQ all these before tonight. He was not only teching for ZZ Top on that night, but he's also teching for Lynyrd Skynyrd and also teching for the Outlaws, so he had quite a job to do. He very, very kindly agreed to take that job on and get the EQing right on the guitars. And Elwood happened to be passing when he was doing the EQing work and helped him with it. So the guitars were then ready to play for the gig. So we built the guitars, We've delivered them to the guitar tech. It's lunchtime, we go off and get a bit of lunch, and then we wait the evening of the gig. We're sat 5 rows from the front for the gig, waiting for the guitars to come out. Out come the usual guitars, the John Bolins, the Gretsch guitar, a Les Paul, etc., etc. No sign of the Newmans. And then they finish their set. And then they come on for the encore. Now I had a little feeling that I'd seen John to the side of the stage actually tuning up the Newmans, and lo and behold they came on and played the encore, which was amazing. There's 25,000 people in the Ruoff Music Centre. It's an amphitheatre type setting, so it's a really, really nice setting for a gig. They played Brown Sugar and they played LaGrange, and the guitars sounded absolutely killer. And Elwood and Billy were kind enough at the end of the gig to hold the guitars up and show them to the audience. So we did manage to get the guitars from wood to stage in 40 days, and they played them on that night and they sounded absolutely killer. So once the gig is over and the excitement has died down a little bit, we're still backstage, and we had the pleasure and the honour of meeting up with Billy on his tour bus. At the end of the gig, his tour bus was parked directly behind the stage. The lorries were packed up, and all the gear was put on board. The trucks headed back to Nashville to be stashed where they were. There was an alternative rig going out to California for the future gigs. And we said goodnight to Billy. He got on his tour bus and headed off back to Nashville. So, wood to stage in 40 days, we did it.